No, I want to start posting now. Mark can do. Yeah, do Basadison. I think I will do today. Hey, Commando, they want it to be on the portal. There, I'll send Dubani everything. I think I was supposed to be yesterday, but I'm busy. When my assignment, yeah, I'll set one. Lerolo, if not today, tomorrow, but I'll have to make sure that can organize. Kuko nakasina kaga tinaba mochi drop, but anyway, let me. Yeah, to go to Mizaya. It's 2 weeks. No, not that listen to person. If I'm going to send Ukoko, despite the fact that I'll be able to send. Okay, let's just let today. Right, welcome. Yes, but also we must be reminded, guys, that we're being recorded. So, yeah. I want to do a recap. I'll start with a recap of what we covered when you're not there, but I'll not necessarily cover everything in detail, but I'll just go through issues. When you guys were away, one of the important things that we covered was when you were here, did we cover personnel management versus HRM? We covered that one? Yes. We did. Okay. Differences between personnel management and human resource management? Yeah, we did. Okay. Human resource roles, policies and strategies and plans. Okay. So what we'll do, I taught this to your colleagues. So since you're not here, I can take an advantage of just covering them so that at least you're all on the same page. Yes. Just want to make sure that this is properly. I don't want it. I don't want to fall down because of this. Huh? Oh, fall down? Yeah, but at least I have to do this. If I do this better. Yeah. Okay, once in a while I'll go that side. My assumption is that we all understand now in detail what human resource management is all about, what it's supposed to do in an organization, in simple terms, why we have it, and possibly why we had to abandon personnel management for human resource management. We covered those before we went for South Africa trip. But while we were in South Africa, when I was teaching those that were here, I taught them human resource roles, policies, and strategies. The idea is that once we have the human resource in the organization, what role is it supposed to play? What policies and what strategies and plans must it have? I think that's the issue. So what we are saying in this case is that roles are foundation to the effective management of human resource within an organization. In other words, all these roles, policies, strategies, and plans, they are the basis. In the absence of them, it becomes very, very difficult for you as HR in the organization to function. When you've got roles, policies, and strategies and plans, they ensure that the organization attracts, develops, and retains the talent necessary to achieve its strategic goals while maintaining compliance with legal requirements and fostering positive work environment. In simple terms, what we are saying is that, as we had earlier on said, that every organization has a goal. There is a reason. Maybe I'm starting from afar. Let me start with every organization has got vision and mission, which is achieved through strategy, but there is a goal, maybe just to avoid complication, I would say goal and objectives and strategy. From the business perspective, so from the business perspective, this comes out. But operationalization of this is through people. Now, that's where HR comes in. That now it must envision a situation of the type of people that you must have, the type of skills and talent that they must possess, the knowledge that they must possess, the skills that they must possess, in order for the objectives, mission, and vision to be fulfilled. Now, for the HR now to be able to create such people in the organization who are consummate with the desires of the organization, then the HR must have policies, strategies, must have plans, and must have roles. So, in that, as HR is playing its roles and then operationalizing its policies and strategies and plans, then ultimately what happens is that there's going to be transformation. So through structured and well-implemented HR practices, in simple terms, what are we saying? When HR is executing itself in accordance to the roles, policies, strategies, and plans, then what that translates is that HR at that point, then HR is engaged in practice. So HR best practices will translate into the organization being able to be a high performance one. So organizations can enhance their operational efficiency, adaptability, and overall performance, contributing to sustainable success. You read other books, they'll tell you that through HRM, high performance. Performance can be defined using various variables. You can say performance based on the revenue increase, performance based on productivity, efficiency, etc. So let's first of all look at the roles that HR plays. HR plays various roles. Among them include the most traditional ones: recruitment and selection. It's HR's role. It's HR's role to ensure that the organizations attracts and hires the right talent to meet its needs. Training and development remains a role that HR plays, providing employees with necessary skills and knowledge to perform their roles effectively and to develop their careers. There can be a long list of roles. There can be a long list of them, but now let's look at policies. Policies. What do you understand by the term policy? Maybe you can Google. I don't have a problem if you Google. Policy. I just want us to make sure that we are on the same page. Policy. What do policies do? Regulations. Yeah, guidelines to, not necessarily regulations, but guidelines to the guide managers in making decisions, isn't it? Okay, what you want to create is some guidelines. If I'm going to make decisions, but my decisions are guided by what? So the absence of policy provides unlimited freedom for managers to make any type of decisions, some of which may not be as important and supportive to that organization in the context. So to create a basis through which managers are going to be sure that the decisions that are making are good decisions, you provide for policies. So in this case, you've got HR policies. They provide framework for managing employees. But critical to policies is to make sure that when you are managing employees, you are always and always indeed mindful of the following: consistency and fairness, legal compliance, guidance, and conflict resolutions. You want an organization to be a very good place to be. An organization being a community where people come in and go on a daily basis, and you realize that we spend more time at the organizations than at home. You go to the organizations early morning, you don't go for late in the afternoon. Some organizations you go 5 days a week, but some of them you go 6 days a week. And there could also be some additional work that might be required, which may require you to go to organizations even in days like holiday days, sometimes even Saturdays and Sundays. Now, such place where you spend most of your time should not be a hell. It must be a place where you are happy, and it must be a place where there is limited grumbling, backbiting, and whatever, which can be caused by unfair practices. But at the same time, because you're dealing with people, you would like to make sure that all your dealings with them is consistent with the requirements of the law of that land. So that's why we are saying that policies will guide the following: consistency and fairness. Establishing clear guidelines that ensure all employees are treated equally, reducing the risk of discrimination and favoritism. Legal compliance. You want to help the organization adhere to employment laws and regulations. It means your policies, there will be a policy, for example, there will be a policy for recruitment, policy for dismissal, policy for retirement, policy for promotion, policy for training, policy. Why would you have all those policies? Those policies would mean that you have to make decisions that are in line in that policy. Now, that's where now HR plays a role. It examines and analyzes all these policies to ensure the extent to which the decisions that are going to be made out of the guidance of those policies will be consistent with the requirement of the organization's mission, vision, goals, objectives, and strategy. That's one of the things that you're seriously going to be able to look into at that point. Policies will provide guidance, providing employees and managers with reference points of acceptable behavior and procedures. Time in, time out, dress code, language, all those things. Policies play an important role to guide. Legal compliance, conflict resolutions. You can agree with me that there will never be an organization without conflict. And a certain level of conflict is even good for any organization. But you just have to be very careful on the extent to which you can be able to allow conflict in the organization. However, you must realize that how to manage those conflicts has also to be guided by policy. That's why we are saying that the conflict resolution policies will offer mechanism for addressing and resolving workplace issues and grievances. So, apart from policies, there are also strategies. If you remember, we talked about HR strategies. At some point, I defined them. I can actually take you back to define what HR strategies are. Yeah, here's a definition of HR strategy. Yeah, you're correct. Long-term plans. Okay, long-term plans that aligns human resource policies and practices with overall business strategy to achieve goal. So, business strategy comes out. After business strategy comes HR strategy. HR strategy complements business strategy. Yeah, HR strategy ensures that it shapes people. That's what HR strategy is all about. Shaping, transforming the human resource to be in line with the demands of the strategy. At some point, we're going to be able to discuss about organization culture. You realize that there are some times where an organization cannot manage to achieve its plan purely on the basis of the culture of the people. Under those circumstances, what might be very critical is cultural transformation. And cultural transformation, to be successful, would require HR to come up with a suitable strategy to achieve such kind of an arrangement. So, if I have to take you back, you see that these are the things that you do. Okay? Business goals, alignment. This one is also very critical. Talent management. I can give you an example. You can have a team. Maybe I'll give you an example about Emmanuel Mulele. I don't know whether you know him. Emmanuel Mulele is a consultant and trainer. Yeah. He trains people on teamwork. Okay. He does teamwork, group, what we say, team building, whatever. He does so many things. No, not light bulb. Yeah. But now, what you see, I want to bring in this Emmanuel Mulele because I want you to understand the element of talent that I'm talking about. He is talented, particularly in his ability to sell. He had to forgo a very senior post because he wanted to take up a sales career in the bank when he was working for Standard Bank. He started working for Commercial Bank and then he transferred to Standard Bank. So that position for sales was a junior position, where he was already at a senior managerial position. But he said, I want to do selling. So he accepted to be, in a way, demoted to that position. But he had talent. He had been able to sell accounts like anything. Within his tenure, the bank registered a huge growth of new accounts, to the fact that the bank appreciated by elevating him to a more senior position than the one he was before he had left his department to go to sales. So, when somebody like that in your organization who is performing extraordinarily, when somebody like that would like to resign to join another organization, what would you do? Yeah, now you find that you may not just increase salaries willy and nilly because you've got a salary structure that guides you on salary increment. Okay, so you've got a salary structure that guides you on salary increment. Okay, so I know you can innovate, find a means through which you can be able to attract these people to stay. You can innovate. Yeah, but you cannot easily just change the structure. Okay, but you can play around. All I'm trying to say, or sometimes you can say, you can advise to say, let's change certain policies that are going to make us lose more people. Why? Because most of these people that we are likely going to lose have got talent that we need in this organization. And sometimes you can identify the most talented and give the special offer than the rest because they have got good talent. Yeah. So, all I'm saying is, HR is one that has to play that role. A line manager can identify talent by guidance of HR, but a line manager might have some limitations. But the HR is the one that is going to have the database of specific and special talent that the organization possesses. HR plays that important role of having such kind of an information. Say, for example, an organization has to undergo through change. Now we are in the digital world. So you're saying for us to be able to achieve our mission and vision, let's go digital. So it means abandonment of all the systems that you are using and adoption of a digital system. What will HR do? This implies total change in the organization. The organization structure and various areas might need to be changed. So you'll see that with such kind of an arrangement, you realize that and under those circumstances, HR has to be able to play a very critical role of transforming people, and the transformation must be transformation of behavior, of employee attitude, of employee perception. All those things have to be, perceptions, attitude, those things require change. HR plays that role. The entire change management process lies in the hands of HR. Workforce planning, anticipation of future staffing needs, developing plans to meet those needs, ensuring the organization has the right people in place at the right time. Those are HR develops strategies in those areas. Maybe not necessarily develop, but formulate. Is there any question or comment at this point? I want you to have that holistic picture about human resource. I don't want you to think that human resource is there just to do clerical work. In some places, people think HR are just the clerics who are sent to be able to deliver a speech of a CEO when one staff member dies. HR role is beyond that. They're not just there to keep track of who has how many days on leave, who does what. HR, last time I said, HR has been able to rise up to a level where it is now fully represented in the boardroom. HR plans. HR plans are detailed action steps designed to implement HR strategies. Critically, if an organization is performing poorly in one way or another, HR must be asked, what do we need to do to make these people produce the best? HR strategies, HR plans are detailed action steps designed to implement HR strategies. And this includes operation efficiency, where the HR has to provide a clear roadmap for executing human resource strategies, which enhances efficiency. If we are to achieve efficiency, what do we need to do? What kind of transformation do we need to bring into these people if we are to do what we have to do? Resource allocation. Ensuring that resources are allocated effectively to HR activities, maximizing the returns on investment. Performance metrics. Establishing benchmarks and performance indicators to measure the success of HR initiatives. Employee development. Creating specific plans for employees' development and succession planning, which are essential for long-term organizational growth. So is HR important? What do you think? I think it is. Unfortunately, when you go on the ground, you don't see that attention being given to HR. Why? You ask a lot of HR people, they will tell you they're frustrated fellows. whose voices did not heard anywhere in the corridors of the organization. Unfortunately, that's the reality on the ground. I was at one point a member of Institute of People Management, Malawi, and we used to meet every year for an annual conference for HR people. And every time we meet for a conference, it was the same old story about HR not being properly recognized as a player of important role in an organization.
It's different in other departments. Simon is exactly what you can do.
Okay, yeah, I get your point. Yeah, it's like everybody feels we can do without them, but they don't understand that if there is a must not avoid the department is HR. Why? Because every organization can only be able to deliver because of people. Minus people, it will just be buildings. Let's say, look at this school. It has got very nice infrastructure. Upstairs are classrooms. But minus the HR, the people, the lecturers, what will happen? It's the same. You go to a factory in Kaningo. They can have heavy machinery and everything, but minus the people that come into, it's nothing. So I know because HR traditionally came late into the organizations. Its concepts, ideas, and philosophies came late. When at that point, certain level of strides in the attaining efficiency had been made, there is still a school of thought in other people that you can still be able to achieve a lot by either pressing people, creating tough rules for them to comply. But you must realize that you can only hold on to that when you don't have heavy competition. Heavy competition, particularly in both terms. Heavy competition in terms of labor market. If there is more demand for labor than supply, you as an organization will be forced to adhere to best HR practices. Because you can only be able to allow your staff you can only be able to achieve your ability, make it possible for your staff to stay in the organization with best HR practices. Now, the other situation is when there is heavy competition in terms of other organizations wanting to achieve more and motivating their staff well enough and growing. When they grow big, they will need more HR, more people. They will snatch people away from you. So, HR personnel, HR people, HR practitioners, I like to use that word, must do the needful to claim their rightful place in the organization. HR plans are detailed actions. We've looked at this one. Come up with plans for resource allocation, come up with plans for establishing benchmarks and performance indicators to measure success of HR initiatives, employee development, creating specific plans for employee development and succession planning, which are essential for long-term organizational growth. Performance management, monitoring and evaluating employee performance to ensure alignment with goals, very important. This one is very important. I'll go back to your observation. Yes, it's true. People may not see the relevance of HR, but one reason being that probably there's nothing that they are there to show. This can be a very good basis through which HR can develop evidence that they are very important in an organization. This one. If HR is going to be able to establish benchmark performance indicators and measure the success of HR initiatives, if they are going to be able to provide a report that shows strides that have been made that year, and that provide evidence to the fact that the efficiency of that year, which has translated into high performance, relating to high profitability, has been as a result of the following initiatives. We at HR, this is what we did, which translated into the following motion. And this motion translated into superior performance of our employee because of this initiative. Today we are talking about getting 50 million profit net because we were able to do the following for our staff. That's what we're looking at here. That's what we're looking at. Yeah, and then the rest. Come up with plans. What we are saying is, when these things happen, fostering positive work environment, conflict resolution, communication and engagement initiatives, designing and managing fair and competitive compensation structures, ensuring adherence to labor laws. When these things are happening smoothly, it must be because someone else had made a plan that the things must be that way. It must just not happen. Why? HR must come up with plans that ensures that these things that are very critical for the success of the organization are not just happening. Let's have examples of policies. These are examples of policies. Maybe this one should have been, yeah. These are examples of policies by HR. Okay. Employment, equal employment opportunity, workplace compensation. Okay. So, for example, leave and attendance policy is a policy with specific rules regarding vacation, sick leave, and attendance. So that any decisions that are made about vacation, sick leave, and attendance are guided by this. The same with this one, employee conduct, policy that outlines expected behavior and standards for professionalism. Let's look at equal opportunity. It's a policy that ensures fairness in hiring, promotion, and compensation without discrimination. So if all these policies are in place, then decisions about what to do in what situations are properly guided and likely going to be fair and likely going to be consistent. Let's look at other additional policies. Examples: performance management policy, where you have detailed procedure for evaluating and improving employee performance. Training and development policy, encouraging continuous learning and development opportunities for employees. Training and development policies that encourages continuous learning and development opportunities for employees. Let's look at examples of HR strategies. Examples of HR strategies include strategy on talent acquisition, strategy on employee engagement, strategy on leadership development. For example, strategy for talent acquisition, you're developing proactive recruitment strategy to attract top talent. Engagement, you're enhancing employee commitment and motivation. Leadership, you're preparing future leaders within the organization. And you can create indicators. For example, one indicator of employee engagement strategy would be where you've got low staff turnover. When you've got a situation where in one organization, every month you've got 3, 4, 5 people leaving, it's an indicator of something is wrong. That's an indicator that something is wrong. Yeah, let's look at the examples, further examples. These are business strategies. This one is a business strategy. This one is a business strategy. This one is a business strategy. Okay. So let's look at how they are linked with HR strategy. So if a company aims to expand, that's a business strategy, global growth strategy. The HR strategy might focus on recruiting talent with experience in scaling operations and entering new markets. Cost leadership strategy. For a business focused on cost efficiency, the HR strategy might prioritize lean staff model, performance-based pay, training programs aimed at improving productivity. If you focus on differentiation, in companies pursuing differentiation through high-quality products, the HR strategy might emphasize recruiting skilled specialists, fostering culture of quality and excellence.
Why is it focusing on HR plan?
Which one? Which one are you talking about?
Even the growth strategy.
Yes.
If the company is expanded,
Uh-huh.
HR focus on giving time.
Uh-huh.
But in HR plans, why not just improving your own stuff?
Oh, okay. I get your point. When you want to grow quickly, you might need, it's like a team. A team has two options. A football team. A football team that wants to be a global team has got an option to recruit players and train them and allow them to learn skills to become number one team. It will take 10 years. That can take 10 years. That same team can have a choice of recruiting players who are already talented elsewhere, so that when they assemble them as 11 players, automatically the first game they win. And within that season, they become number one. Wait, This is into HR, eh? That's what I hate. I hate that this class is a class of all athletes. Actually, it's that. That's what has saved the class. They were still not in agreement in terms of whether why should we not maintain 3 to 5? When I mentioned that you guys are doing sports, initially it was but eventually they realized that all of them were athletes. Okay. Yeah. So where do you guys train? Which is Babino? So when are you inviting me for training? I'm a basketball coach myself. I used to coach Campus College of Nursing long time ago. Basketball. Hey. Who are basketball players here? All of you play basketball. And then one time I'll come. Not this week, but next week. Yeah. Today I'll not. I already have something to do at 3. Next week I can spare time. Because at 3, because I'm teaching you at 10, at 3, so I can just come. Next week I'll just come to watch. And yeah, but I'm a good coach. Currently, I am not coaching any school. but I used to coach. I was at one point a chairman of Central Zone Basketball League. You know Sezobo?
That's the league.
Yeah, I was a chairman. Yeah.
Okay.
So you are members of that league, eh? You play. Ah,
So they are.
but you have a coach also who coaches you. Yeah.
You know, it's
Riso, no.
only fun.
Yeah, I've heard about her, yeah. She comes to train you. She comes every Thursday for training.
Not every day. It depends.
Yeah.
Because we also have another coach.
Who is that one?
I really don't know that one. Moses.
So why you have so many coaches?
No, they have two.
Two.
So one should be a coach, one should be assistant.
That's how it is.
Oh, okay.
Main coach is coach.
Okay. Now, yeah, so yeah. Okay. Just to give you the example, these people want to grow. So it all depends on how quickly you want to grow. If you want to grow quickly, you can acquire talent. So it means, if I give the example of the team, you can get players who are already experts, who are already stars. You buy them elsewhere, you assemble them, you make a team. The first game it wins. The first season it becomes number one. Immediately it grows. Okay. Or you can decide, we have time. Let's recruit under 15. Train them over time until, yeah. Or you could do both. You recruit talent to grow quickly, but on the parallel, you're also training these ones to grow so that they replace this. I want to give you that example. That's what you also do in organizations. We're not saying that it is a rule that whenever you're engaged in growth strategy, you have to recruit talent outside.
These are like most of
Yes, I'll tell you why. Profit-oriented businesses do not want to take chances by employing people, allow them to learn for the future. They're not ready for that. Companies are looking at quick gains. Yeah, they want this year to make a profit. Because if they employ a bunch of people who are not well experienced, they are worried that they will be able to make loss or make minimal profit. So, who's going to subsidize that amount? It's difficult. That's why, in most cases, the best path you can go to learn how to work would be to go through the internship process. And if there is an opening, you get employed and become an employee, especially in organizations that are not profit making. So that in the medium to long term, you become a star. Now, then you have gained the experience to now compete for those jobs. You cannot compete for high-paying jobs and lucrative jobs straight from school unless you have a special talent. In the absence of such a talent, it will not be possible. I have someone I know, her name is Tema. She runs her consultancy company called Marketing Machine. Now, Tema, I think Kumwenda or thereabout. She always make presentations to students. She tells them that when she had launched her business, it was very difficult for her to be trusted with any job, to win a job to do. Because everywhere she goes, people were saying, we don't have any reference of any job that you have done before. So when she noticed that she wouldn't be given any opportunity, what she did, she started approaching businesses that were struggling, but had no money to pay a consultant. So she would offer herself on pro bono basis to say, you know what, I want to help to market your business, but we don't have money. It's okay. It's okay. Whatever small you have, just give me for transport and whatever, but I would like. So then she would work with these guys and this company would turn around. Then she would say, you know what, you should be my reference. I was lacking this. You should be my reference. Okay. Then she goes to another company, she does the same. Then she had about 3 or 4 or 5 companies. She had helped over a period of 3 years thereabout. So she had an evidence. Then she started competing for those jobs that were looking for experience. Then she started getting one by one. You're getting the point. It was the first initial process. The first initial process was painful because she was doing a lot of work almost for free, but she was only just looking for the experience. So that's why even you guys, mostly I know the problem with new graduates, especially your generation, you're not willing to pay the price. You always want just to jump into the best thing. Others have allowed themselves to volunteer for a period in an organization just to get the needed experience. That's what we're looking forward. So, but anyway, HR must play an important role. So, just to answer your question, we are saying it's not that it's a rule to say every time you must always train. You can do both. You can do one of them. It depends on what the business wants to achieve at that time. So, there's nothing wrong with this one. But the most common approach, because currently the operating environment is very, very tight, and most companies are interested in the immediate profit and supernormal profit, the direction now has moved to seeking talent. That's yes, Debbie. That's why I always advise people to say it's not enough just to study to get a qualification. It's also good enough for you to have certain talents, develop certain talent. Amongst within the period of study you are here, develop some talent. These days, you guys, you are born in a good generation where there's knowledge available anywhere else. There are free courses online, whatever. You can teach yourself something, so that is what should separate you from everybody else. You must be separated and differentiated from everybody else, purely on the basis of the talent. Right. I hope this is clear. We can move on. Yeah, this one I think I can skip it. I can skip this one. Yeah. We've looked at these ones, activities, isn't it? Yeah, we've looked at them. Yeah, but when I was looking at activities in the first slide, my slide only had recruitment and staffing, but there are more activities. Maybe what I can do here is to give you more activities. Yeah, all these are activities. Recruitment, staffing,
Those are literally the rules.
activities. Okay, these things they're almost the same things. Yeah, yeah. The activities, you recruit, you train, you performance management, a compliance. Okay. Roles. Okay. Okay. There are roles you play. Okay. We mentioned them. There are activities you play. But you find that they're almost the same things, but there are some slight differences. But within the activities, there are some activities that are specialists. There are some activities that are general. So let's look at general activities. Okay. These are what I would call general activities. Recruitment, you engage in job analysis and designs, talent acquisition, onboarding, ensuring new hires are effectively integrated, training and development, orientation programs, skill development, career development, okay, performance management, compensation and benefits, employee relations, compliance, different activities. But they are now specialist activities. You see that they're the same that we mentioned. Only here, the difference is at talent acquisition, you're looking at strategic sourcing. Okay, let's see the difference. I want you to see the difference. The general activities, talent acquisition. Okay, these are specialist activities. I wanted to, okay, that's fine. Maybe I can just explain it. The strategic specialist human resource activities are typically performed by HR specialists with a focus on specific areas of HR to provide expertise and in-depth support. It's like an extra mile. So for example, one of them is talent acquisition, where you want to utilize advanced techniques and tools to find top talent, including social media and job boards and recruiting agencies. It's like you're not just doing it, but you're doing it in depth with the aim of achieving top-notch results. And it's only those organizations that have got a good budget that can manage this level. I don't know whether you have seen in some situations where they're advertising a job, they're looking for an HR specialist. They're not just looking for an ordinary HR manager, but they're looking for someone who has to be a specialist. Somebody who has an in-depth understanding of HR. If you are looking at HR activities in learning and development specialists, you are identifying gaps in employees' skills and knowledge and designing training programs to address this. Yes. Yes, but also you want to transform your employees, they must possess unique skills that others don't have. I'll give you an example. Majority of TVET programs, you know TVET, eh? Yeah. TVET programs are aimed at just giving you a skill. You are just a carpenter. You can make a desk. When you finish those courses, you can go to certain places they can employ you, but certain places they cannot. Once you join them, they say, you know how to do carpentry? Yes, but we want you to become one of the best carpenters. So they will sharpen you to be able to produce a very distinguished table, a very different one. You have attained a certain level of competency than just ordinary desk making. When you reach a point where your competence level is to that high notch, it means you have reached the specialist component. So, specialist HR activities are those that are aimed at transforming employees or whatever activities of HR you're doing. You're moving from ordinary to extraordinary. We call them distinctiveness. You're looking at distinctiveness. Distinctive, you're trying to build capabilities that are distinctive in employees. It's okay. Okay. Yes. Maybe if there's any question before we go to international human resource management. So today I think we have covered strides. We have looked at human resource generally, zeroed in on what its activities are, policies are, plans are, and strategies are. So you must understand that as an HR, you must always be able to have policies, plans, strategies. The absence of those will render you useless. That's why if you don't have them in the organization, when they are doing restructuring, they'll say, let's see, restructure and take away HR because we don't see any significant contribution it is making. Why? Because you're not providing any evidence that you are relevant in that organization. Right. One notable thing that we have to all agree is that we are living in a global village. So there are certain common features associated factors that are associated with Global Village. You can no longer just rely on recruitment of people from one locality. Organizations are now connected. You can have multiple branches across the world. You can be operating in Malawi, but you realize that you have a branch in Zambia. Let's look at Standard Bank. Let's look at this new bank that has come on the block. What do we call it? No. Centenary. Yeah. Centenary Bank is a bank that originated in Uganda, isn't it? But it has found its way in Malawi. ShopRite. You find it in South Africa. Where else do you find it? In Malawi. Where else do you find it? Zambia. Where else do you find it? Tanzania. In Kampala, Uganda, you find ShopRite. You know, Airtel. It's a company owned by an Indian, Mo Ibrahim, isn't it? But Airtel is found in so many parts of the world. Okay, and there are so many other companies that we can talk about. What are we talking about now? HR now must no longer just be confined to a local context. Because you can no longer just recruit Malawians. You'll have to recruit Malawians and non-Malawians. And some of the people that you might also recruit would be Europeans, Asians. This is what is bringing us to this context. To say that the international aspects of human resource management refers to the strategies, policies, and challenges associated with managing human resource in a global context. As an organization expands their operations across borders, HR must adapt to the complexities of international labor markets, diverse cultures, varying legal environments, and different economic conditions. I gave an example of ShopRite. Originated in South Africa within a particular legal framework and a business environment, but expanded to the Southern Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa. Kenya, there is ShopRite there, Kenya. But you find that labor laws in Kenya and labor laws in Malawi and Zambia and Tanzania might have certain similarities, but there would also be certain differences that are necessary because they suit some specific country-specific context. So when you look at this country-specific context of HRM, okay, country-specific context of labor laws, then you've got an HR manager whose head office is in South Africa. You realize that they can make a decision which can be effective in South Africa, but ineffective in Malawi because of those differences. And that's why we are saying that at this particular point, we are more and more interested in ensuring that HR people must accustom themselves to the fact that the organization they are running either is global or has the potential to go global. So even the things that HR does, for example, recruitment, should not only be focused on a narrow geographical area. HR must now work towards ensuring that they can recruit anywhere else. You can recruit from Kenya, Tanzania, Zambia. You can see here we're looking at identifying and attracting talents across different countries. Centenary Bank now has a new CEO who is from Uganda. If you go to Airtel, you realize that at certain level of management, despite that they've got a Malawian CEO, but at certain levels of Airtel, there are people from India and different parts of the world. It's also very common in international organizations like COMESA. COMESA, for example, you go there and see the center, there is a COMESA office at Kangombe House. You find Ugandans, Rwandans, Malawians, Kenyans, and yeah, that's what it is today. Yeah. So, HR management at UN is not just focusing on the things that in US. It's wide and it's netted. That's what we're actually referring to. And you must realize that sometimes you can employ recruitment, expatriate management, managing employees who are relocated to work in foreign subsidiaries, where a good example would be currently NICO. NICO has subsidiary in Zambia, Tanzania, and Mozambique, meaning that they can take people from here and post them